Hello and welcome back to day 5 of the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, this time with Asperia, or should I rather say with alien ships. We already see one of the new additions to the alien ships, the Apoa Defender on the right side.
For your safety, please vacate the area. Thank you for your cooperation.
I just fucking stored. This is the third time that you're saying please vacate the area. Yeah, I'm already parking. Anyway, the Defender was recently added into the game. Some people did really go crazy about it. I didn't particularly like it, to be honest. I think it has a very distinctive style and all that, so I'm not complaining about that. Oh, suddenly the lights go on and don't go off. Well, apparently there's also lighting issues. Anyway, what I particularly don't like about the ship is the whole, alien design, which, what the hell is wrong with the lighting here? I don't know, I think this should be the lighting without anything happening in there. Maybe we can just start up the ship so that the interior lighting is on, because this looks a little bit weird. No, we can't. Well, so much about that. Anyway, what I wanted to say, I'm not particularly a fan of the interior design. It's unique and all that, I give it that, but it reminds me a little bit too much of Stargate Atlantis, of the interior design of Wraith ships. Except maybe the bats and all that, but I'm kind of... It's kind of not a style I like, but if you like it, then kudos to you. It's a pretty decent ship for 2 people to pilot. Also has another seat over there. In flight, also the wings here, or whatever that's supposed to be, I'm gonna call it the wings, also extend slightly forward, and it has a really interesting weapons loadout with so-called tachyon guns, which are faster than light guns, which in this game means they hit the target instantaneously. So that's, on paper, that's pretty nice, but the problem is that currently the persistent universe has huge issues with hit detection and those weapons, which means that even if you use auto gimbal targeting, you're probably not going to hit anything with those guns. Except, really slow moving objects, and even those you're probably just gonna miss by a mile. I had they gave us the ship recently just for everyone to try out when it initially came out, and so I did have some time with it back then, and I didn't like it. I already wasn't that fond of the design, and now with the way it was performing, not really my thing. It's probably pretty nice in Arena Commander, admittedly, and it's pretty maneuverable for such a huge ship, and, all that. It also has pretty decent shield generators. In particular, it has a shield generator that is much more resistant to ballistic weapons than other shield generators are. And all of that is pretty great, but, if the weapons don't hit shit and it's not your fault, then it's not a ship for me. I'm sorry. That sounds a little bit too frustrating for me. Alright, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this thing. Anyway, those are the Nox small bikes, that just hover. Similar to the Dragonfly that we're probably more familiar with than the Nox itself. I think there's aside from the regular Nox, there's also that one over there. But I'm not really sure what the difference between those is. Nox Q. Is there any difference between those? Apparently the Nox Q is even faster, so it's better for racing, because we have so much racing content in the game already. But speaking of ships that are pretty great when you just fly them, the K2 has been in the game for a little bit longer than its bigger brother, the Defender. Actually, they look rather differently, I gotta say, the Banner Defender and the K2. But this is supposed to be a scout ship, It also has this beautiful transition where from the landing mode that it is in right now, it transitions into flight mode that basically puts the cockpit area a little bit back and then spreads out the engines. There's someone sitting in there, and I think even if there wasn't someone sitting in there, I think we can't change landing gears because they just disabled ships entirely this time. Which, you know, apparently we had too much fun trying out various things with the ships last year. So CIG needed to fix that. Where's the prompt to get in here? Oh, there was something. Hold on, let's try. But from what I've seen with the other ships, it's probably not possible. It has a beautiful cockpit, you know? I mean, some of the metal rings maybe are a little bit unnecessary, but no, everything's grayed out. Well, such a shame. It's pretty maneuverable. It doesn't have too many guns though, which is kind of a major issue in my opinion. It's maneuverable and all that, but all the maneuverability doesn't really help you much when you're a pretty big target compared to other fighter craft with about the same amount of guns, and you really can't kill shit. So I don't really know. I wouldn't recommend that either. Then back here we unfortunately, apparently the prediction I did yesterday turned out to be just wild speculation. We got blades here on the side flanking the slightly bigger glaive in the middle, all of which are Vandal ships. Not sure what happened to the good old Vandal. What was the name of that of their original ship? The Scythe, right? The Scythe. So we just have the light Vandal fighter, which is highly agile and all that, but again it has a few issues with being a little bit undergunned for its size. And while it has ramming blades, I'm not sure how functional those are. And then we have the slightly bigger glaive, which, as hard as people are probably as hard as it is to believe at this point, at some point this ship actually used to be one of the top dogfighters in the game, and kind of because it was insanely expensive, kind of sparked the whole pay-to-win discussion back in the early days of the forums. But ever since then it has been nerfed to the ground. Basically its main armament consists of, I believe, one? What was it, two? I think it was one size 5 gun. Maybe it was two. Let's actually rent that and give it a whirl later. So it has surprisingly huge, a surprisingly huge gun compared to, you know, other medium fighters, which are looking at like the gold standard that the Saber sets is like 4 size 3 guns, you know, which is fine, you know, but 2 size 5, and then I think it also has 2 size. Those look like size 1s actually in the center. But the problem is the wings are pretty huge and are a pretty massive target. And as soon as someone shoots you, they're probably gonna hit the wings. The wings are gonna fall off, which means your maneuverability is completely screwed, because also your main engines are attached to those wings, and you also lose firepower. So the ship is probably still pretty okay if you manage to not lose the wings, but it just so easily loses any of those. And after that you just have the other wing, maybe you lose that too, and then you just have 2 size 1 guns, which, you know, is not gonna scare anyone. Also obviously, because those are big size 5 guns, they obviously also are hit really hard with the recent issues with fixed guns in the PU, so yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna give it a whirl, but I very much doubt that I'm gonna do a video about it, because it's probably just saying, This ship, you know, it had so much potential and it was so much fun back in the day, and now it's just... It just dies, you know? Dying is not fun. Anyway, I'm afraid that already was it for today. Just a rather short one because, you know, CIG apparently didn't have any surprises in store for us. Didn't even, you know, let us power on the ship to just see the transformation of the K2R, which was at least something to look at last time. So I guess that's it for today. Maybe an analysis video of the lathe coming in at some point later, but we'll see that next time. Have a good one.